Welcome back to the Black Wealth Creator Podcast, where we help uplift the Black community through financial education. Welcome back to the podcast. Yo, listen, on today, I want to talk to you about a fundamental principle of economics: supply and demand. Right now, let's talk about what is supply and demand and also why is it important. First, let's read the definition. Supply and demand: a theory that explains the interaction between the seller of a resource and the buyer of a resource. The theory defines the relationship between the price of a given good or product and the willingness of people to buy or sell it. So, what does this really mean? The theory explains the interaction between the seller of a resource. So what's that? What's a seller of a resource? So a seller of a resource would be Walmart, like Walmart. Let's take Walmart for example. And so it's the interaction between the seller of a resource, Walmart, and the buyer of the resource. That would be us, a consumer of a product at Walmart. And let's say Walmart is selling cheese. They have cheese at the Walmart. And so what supply and demand does, it defines our relationship between us and Walmart. Walmart is selling cheese and we have a demand for cheese as a consumer. The theory defines this relationship between the price of the price of the given product or good, which would be cheese in our case, and the willingness of a person to buy or sell that cheese. So it'd be us trying to buy the cheese. So at what price? So Walmart is selling it at a certain price. They're going to sell it at a certain price. And at what point when we, the consumer, aka the demand, will be willing to take the cheese from them, because we want it, but it all depends on the price. So this relationship of supply and demand is really built on two laws of economics. The law of supply, which is at higher prices, supply more goods. So if Walmart has set a price for cheese, let's say Walmart sets their price at $5. So they're going to say, hey, at $5, if it goes up to $10, we should produce more cheese. So they're going to produce more if it goes up, if the price goes up. So there's this curve here, a positive curve, and if you're a mathematical person, it's like a positive slope here, and it's just going up like this. That says as the price goes up, the supply goes up. So it's a positive curve going like this. Conversely, there's another law at work with supply and demand, and it's the law of demand. And demand says as the price goes up, so if price is at the bottom down here, as the price goes up, demand decreases. So it would be a curve like this going down. So we got this upward curve for supply and this downward curve for demand. And where they meet in between, in the middle, is considered equilibrium, or that's where the market price would be set for cheese in our case. So let's say Walmart says, okay, so as price goes up, we're going to be, of course, producing more. We're going to supply more. So let's say they had $5 and $10. They're just doing like a research or whatever. We put cheese at $20. So yeah, at $20, they're going to be like, oh yeah, we're going to produce 200 things of cheese. If it's at $20 per thing, that's almost, like $20 times 200. That's almost $4,000 worth of cheese if they, choose to do that. But if they did like a market research, or if they just followed their the purchases of that cheese, Lord forbid they actually did that, but if they followed the purchases of the cheese, they would notice that the demand actually goes down. So at $20, they may produce 200, but they may only sell 50. They might only sell 10. So you may produce 200, you're going to sell 10, then you got this surplus of cheese left over, and that goes to waste. So Walmart says, okay, well, okay, so there's not a lot of demand. On the flip side, Walmart may say, Or demand may say like, but if you look at their demand curve, if they make the cheese at $5 or if they make the cheese at $1, oh, the demand is super high. But Walmart's like, at $1, if we sell cheese, we're not really making a profit on our end. So then they might be like, nah, no, thank you. But as we work and demand works and supply works and they find this equilibrium here at, let's say like $10, and let's say it's a big block of cheese here. At $10, they find their equilibrium price and everybody's happy. The market is set at $10. And so then that's how supply and demand ultimately works. So why is this important? Like, how does this work in the marketplace? There's this weird relationship with supply and demand where actually at times if supply is low but demand is high, we can raise our price and still achieve our goal of selling that product at a higher price. We see this a lot with gaming. In the gaming industry, we see where they may come out with a new game, and it's just all, the reason I bring up this is because like we see it in gaming, you know what I'm saying? We see it throughout the season. I just want you to be more aware of it, like what companies are doing in order to drive up their profits, in order to drive up what they got going on. So pretty much like during maybe Christmas time, first of all, they'll probably announce a new game is coming out. So they get demand super high for the game. They can put out a short supply, but demand be really high. Then, like we already said, they can drive up the price. So what would be a product that maybe we see a low demand for, high supply for, therefore the product has to be cheaper? Let's say like a pack of gum. Like demand, I mean, everyone wants fresh breath. So demand, but actual demand for gum, like, oh man, give us the gum. Now if it's so much on the shelf, so you know the price is going to be low, demand's going to be kind of low for it. So it's high in supply, so they're going to make the price a little bit lower. But let's say there's a gum shortage, and we could talk about shortages and surplus a different day. But when you have a shortage, it just means there's not enough supply to cover demand. And then if surplus is like we were talking about earlier, where there's too much supply and not enough demand, so you got a surplus. But with shortage, let's say there's a gum shortage, and we say instead of charging $1 for gum, they start charging $5 for gum. Then of course people who really like gum, like people who have to have gum every day, they're gonna be like, oh my goodness, $5, like good gracious, that's a lot of money, but they're gonna pay it. But and we can that kind of plays into supply and demand too, when we talk about maybe like I want to say an addiction, but it's not really an addiction, but it's just something that people have made a part of their routine. So no matter what the price of a Coca-Cola is, they're gonna buy Coca-Colas. So, and we see that a lot with gas. Like no matter what the price of gas is, people may choose like vacation type stuff. They may not go and use gas, but they will at least use gas for work. And so that's why sometimes when supply and demand, we have to have government regulations that say, okay, no, you can't charge $20 for a gallon of gas. Like, or you can't just do that and all the gas companies like, yeah, let's charge $20 for a gas. It's like, no, they have to regulate it. And so regulation kind of plays a part in supply and demand too. So there's just a lot of things that go into this concept of supply and demand. And I just really just want to touch on it today. I didn't give you I just want to give like a bird's eye view of supply and demand and not really go into depth, because there's so many other things where we talked about earlier, that curve and just trying to find that equilibrium when it comes to price and that type of thing. But there's so many other things where we are talking about shortages and where we are talking about price ceilings and price floors, and we're talking about just like I said, government regulations. There's other types of regulations. There's like all types of things. So all types of things can impact our supply and demand. And so I just want to touch on just a few concepts of supply and demand, and I just hope that you just got a better understanding of it. So when it comes down to like personal finance, which is like one of the goals of this channel, how does this help us? Like, how does knowing about supply and demand help us? So it helps us in understanding, first of all, market pricing, and then also like market trends and predicting the market. So if it's, it wouldn't be wise to, like, let's say let's say you got an investment, let's say you've been saving a lot of money, you're going to start investing and stuff. It probably wouldn't be wise to, let's say during the pandemic, take that out. Let's say during the pandemic, when the airlines and the cruise lines, all of those were like shut down, it probably wouldn't have been wise at the start of it to start investing money into cruise ships and stuff like that with the uncertainty, because there just wasn't high demand for it. And it wasn't high demand for it. So that means the price was going to eventually go down. So you don't want to do it up here when the demand's going to drive the price down. So you kind of want to catch it like at its lowest level. And when now things are a little bit different and you want to catch it on the upswing, right at the upswing is when you really want to make your investment on those types of things. That way you can ride that wave. So that's just one example, like as personal finance, like being aware of, okay, is it a good time to invest in coats when the summer is just about to start? Like, it's not a good time to invest in a coat maker company, but a good time to invest in a coat maker company would probably be towards the end of summer, or like in the beginning of summer when they probably start their production. Then it's like, okay, yeah, that'll be a good time to invest in them, and I might see my profits hit higher when it comes into the winter months. So it's just all about those things, because supply is gonna, or demand is gonna pick up, therefore the price will increase in the winter months, and so you'll get greater profits. All of this stuff, and I hope I'm not just rambling on, it's just all of this stuff plays a part into making wise decisions, which helps us build our wealth. So like I said, I just wanted you to be more aware of the supply and demand that's in the marketplace. Also, before we leave on today, I just wanted to give you an update on how we'll start doing the episodes. So I would like to put out an episode every Wednesday. And then on Fridays, I'm going to start trying to go live. So maybe 20 to 30 minutes. Maybe 10, 20, 30 minutes, whatever I can do. Just down below, let me know what platform you'd like me to go live on, whether it's Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, whatever you think would be best for me to go live on. I would definitely, I'm definitely going to start trying to do that. And like I said, it won't be a long time, but I would love for you to come on, ask a couple questions, gain some knowledge, gain some wisdom, gain some advice, and we can just all help each other just grow. This has been another episode of the Black Wealth Creator Podcast, where we uplift the Black community through financial education. Remember, getting money is easy, but building wealth takes time and effort. Anybody can do it, especially you. Be blessed.